If you would have the possibility to get everything you would wish for, what are you going to wish for? No matter what I'm going to wish for, they have all one thing in common. It's going to make me happy. But I realized they also have another thing in common. I don't have it. Whatever I say, whatever I wish for, I don't have it. And that realization kind of made me unhappy because there are so many things I wish for, there are so many things I want, but I don't have. So the question is what to do. Welcome to Within Podcast. I am your host Philip. Today, sadly, without my co-host Sarah. Due to a lot of work, we said we are going to record every second week together, and every other week I'm going to record alone. Nonetheless, over the last couple of years, we have set ourselves the goal to learn everything there is about personal development. And in these years, we have made huge transformations ourselves and learned valuable lessons that helped us tremendously. And the things we learned that helped us the most is what we are going to share on this podcast. Wishes are amazing, right? They help us growing. They help us achieve our goals. They make us happy when we achieve our goals, and they let us kind of dream, right? But the thing with wishes is, I figured out they always remind me what I don't have. I don't have a nice car. I don't have a nice house. I don't have a house with a pool. I am not as successful as I want to be. And it's not like I'm all the time unhappy, but it's like some unconscious thing that I know for a certain fact that some persons are just more successful. And that means some persons, well, I guess are happier than me. They achieved every wish, every goal they ever wanted. So, what to do? Well, I think the first thought that came to my mind was, well, I guess I have to achieve my goals. I have to achieve what I wish for. So, I have to work harder and grind harder to get where I want to be. And in the end, to be happy. And I know I'm not there, right? But I'm kind of curious. How does it feel like? How does a, well, let's say, ultra successful person feel like? How does this happiness of achieving every goal, every wish feel like? This reminds me of an episode of Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan is probably a controversial figure, but I think everybody can agree on that he's very successful. So, what does he say to happiness and success in general? And I remember this episode where he was talking about his beginnings. He had a shitty apartment at first, but after his first success, he could afford an amazing apartment. It was modern. I think it was at Hollywood. It had a loft. It had a pool table. And he said the moment he went in and he looked around and realized, well, this is all his now. This is all his new home now. He said, wow, that was amazing. That was incredible, right? So, to say the least, he was happy. But what he said next kind of shocked me because he said, well, after some time, his new house, well, became just his house. He had the same feeling as a shitty apartment because it was just his home. Nothing more, nothing less. It was just the feeling of home. So this happiness he felt at the beginning, well, was kind of gone. So does that mean achieving your goal does not make you happy in the long run? He's not the only one who had the same phenomena. I read a book called The Lola Principle from René Egli, and after his success, he got to know a lot of new people that were also very successful and rich. And it actually shocked him that so many of these very successful and rich people, well, were actually sad or kind of depressed, in general unhappy. So much more than his, let's say, normal friends he had when he was not that successful, not that rich. Now, I ask myself, well, does that mean achieving my goals, achieving my wishes will not make me happy in the end? Well, I figured for myself that's not a phenomena that's just there for the big wishes or the ultra successful people. It's actually a daily phenomena I had very often. For example, I remember the first time I could buy myself an amazing PC for myself. It was in summer. I just finished my first summer job, and with the money I gained from this job, well, I bought myself this amazing PC. It was a gaming PC, so it was very fast. It had high resolution. it was amazing. It was really amazing because I know I earned it, right? I worked for it and I earned it. And I felt amazing. But I had kind of the same experience as Joe Rogan. Well, after some time and after many hours of gaming, my new PC kind of became my PC and eventually became my old PC. My old PC does not generate any happiness or success or some sort of positive emotion for me. And I ask myself, why? Actually, why is that? I mean, it's such a usual and normal phenomena, but it kind of triggered me that the PC itself did not change. My circumstances actually did not change. My achievement that I had the possibility to buy it did not change. So what did change? Well, my mindset did change. The way I perceive my computer did change. The value I give my computer did change. Then I kind of realized, I think it's the value. The value is what gives me happiness. If I give something enough value, that kind of generates a positive emotion for me. But the thing with perception and the mindset, I figured out, well, that's something I can control. So that means if I can control my mindset and if I can control my perception of things, I can give value. Thus, I can generate happiness. I can generate strength for myself. And I just tried it out. I just tried it out on my computer. Right now, it's my old computer. It's slow. It does not have a high resolution. I cannot play the highest games anymore or the newest games anymore. Nothing special, right? And then I tried to change the perception of how I perceive my old computer. First of all, my old computer still works. I still can do anything I want with this computer. I just can't play the games on the highest resolution anymore. But I can still work, type, or surf in the internet, or whatever. I paid for this computer once, and I can still use it after so many years. Well, another thing is kind of nostalgia. This PC enabled me to generate so many good memories with my friends. So that's also something cool because I know this computer enabled me to do that. Like, these are just like the first two thoughts that came up to my mind. And already these very simple thoughts already changed the perception and already gave my old computer value again. And that already makes me kind of happy because I paid for it once and I still can use it. And then I realized this concept to give value and generate happiness through my mindset, through my perception, through the way I think about it, can be applied for everything, for literally everything. For example, when I'm standing in front of a huge test, I remind myself of all the huge tests I've overcome already, all the hardship I faced, or all the problems I've already solved. The moment I realize that I can remember and generate happiness in the moment I need it, in the here and now, in the presence, that kind of gives me power. That gives me power to overcome new problems, to overcome new tests, or in general, be happy at the moment. Now, when I say I want to remember all my victories, like I want to remember all the things I've overcome, it's not that I want to praise myself in front of a lot of people. That's not the point I'm making here. The point is, I'm just doing that for myself. I release stress. I generate happiness in the moment I want to and the moment I need it. Just for me, not for anyone else. And then I realized happiness is a skill. Being happy is a skill I can learn, I can train. It's not something my surroundings are giving me or something an achievement or goal gives me. It's something I can give myself anytime I want to. So if I want to achieve long-term happiness, well, I can just remember all the victories I already had, all the things I already overcome. So does that mean I don't have to, well, work for my goals anymore, achieve my wishes because they will just generate, well, short-term happiness anyway? That's nothing I want, right? But that's not the point. For me, the point is that I'm not dependent on my wishes anymore, that my emotional balance is not dependent on achieving a goal, is not dependent on, let's say, buying a new computer or buying a new car or buying a new house. whatever it is, I'm not dependent anymore. I can generate happiness the moment I want to. That means I can kind of step out of the circle chasing my happiness. I can step out of this endless circle. So I can be happy with the simplest things. I can be happy by just looking at a butterfly, or just watching trees, or just enjoying an amazing conversation. And that's so powerful, because that means my well-being is not dependent on others, is not dependent on another's reaction, is not dependent on what he says, is not dependent if I have a nice car or a nice house or whatever it is. It's not dependent anymore. That means there is nothing I have to achieve to be happy. I can be the happiest person in this exact moment I'm recording this video. Or you can be happy in this exact moment you're watching it or listening to it. And that's so powerful. And now back to what I want, back to my wishes, back to my goals. I still am going to chase them. But the difference is that I'm not just happy when I achieve them, I will be happy along the way. I will realize every single step that takes me to this journey, that takes me to this achievement. And I will generate happiness. I will give it value, and thus be happy along the way and not just at the end. And that gives me so much trust in myself again. That gives me value. That gives me trust in my abilities and love for myself. And all these things combined are rocket fuel for achieving my goals. So in the end, happiness is not something my surrounding is giving me. Happiness is something I give myself. Happiness comes from within and not from the outside. I hope I could give you some value in this episode. If so, it would help me and Sarah a lot if you leave us a like, a comment, or subscribe to us. Thank you.